guys, we're here. It's the start of 12 days of Bizmas, and I am so fucking pumped. To say that I'm excited is an understatement. I cannot tell you from the bottom of my heart just how super honored and passionate, clearly, and so excited to be here I am. It's like, it's happening. It's actually happening. 12 Days of Bizmas is live. Now, if you don't know what this is and you're already a member of the Facebook group and you're like, Lauren, what the fuck are you talking about? 12 Days of Bizmas, day one, like what is this? We're giving you, here's what's happening so you can get super pumped. We're giving you 12 straight days of coaching from online coaches who are fucking crushing it in the internet space. And we're jumping on every day at 12 Eastern for 12 straight days, a new person every single day to give you a shit ton of value on getting your business to the next level. Now, why this came about and how this got started, we're definitely gonna cover that today because there's so much that I wanna share with you guys. I am just in this space of bliss. Like, as I'm jumping on here, there are no words for how pumped I feel and how excited I am about this offer. When I sat back and I thought about the new year, everybody who runs an online business and an online brand always has this question, and they say, was it hard to sell during the holidays? My biggest fucking month to date, last December, was the biggest month that I had had up until that point in my business. December was our biggest month. And there's all these common misconceptions about, can you actually sell? Is it hard to hit record-breaking numbers in December? And it's not hard. It's fucking easy. December is a beautiful, beautiful month. It always has been in my business. And this year when we reflected on what were we offering and what was 12 Days of Bizmas was this big, beautiful download that I got because I wanted to create something this holiday season for you guys that was about you, that was everything that I could feel in my heart of hearts that people in the online space needed to take their business to the next level. And you sure as shit know, if you've been following me for a while, I'm all about personal development and getting your life and your internal space to be exactly where you want it to be. And when I was growing my business, I had this obsession with strategy. I stepped into entrepreneur space and I was like, I'm going to Google the fuck out of how to grow a business. I'm going to figure it out and it's going to work. And I spent a great deal of time wrapped up in the strategy, but in the back of my head, I didn't feel worthy. I felt like I was going to fail. I felt like it was hard. I felt like I wasn't good enough. I felt like my content wasn't great. I was like, who the fuck am I to show up and try to run this business? I had all these old stories, and no matter how much strategy I knew, no matter how much studying I did, I was never going to create the business of my dreams. I was never going to become that leader that I really, really wanted to be if I wasn't looking at myself, right? And so when I sat back and I was like, well, what can we offer these girls for free for the next 12 days? I knew it had to be centered around shifting you, getting you to a space where you are 100% fucking certain that you are going to be amazing in your business, having such alignment and concrete belief that you are going to crush it in 2019. We could crush it in 2018 too if you want. We still have a couple of days left, right? But every new year, I'm sitting down and I'm asking myself, what do I want to create? Where do I want to go? What's the vision I have for my future? And I wanted to give you guys as much as I possibly could so that you could step into your new year with concrete certainty, with 150% focus in where you were going, and with an understanding and a belief that you can create everything that you want. Everything. So over the next 12 days at 12 p.m. Eastern, we're going to be jumping on in this group. We have 92 of you going live. I've never seen this before. Guys, say hi and tell me where you're from. Send me love. I'm going to cry. This is amazing. This is going to be amazing. You're like, Lauren, get to the point. But I can't. I'm very excited. I am so honored. I am super pumped and so blessed. And I know when I started my business journey, I felt like I didn't have a leader. I felt like I was going blind, like I was searching for the answers. And everybody in the online space, oh, you guys are giving me so much love. Thank you so much. Everybody in the online space made it look so easy, right? They made it look like, hey, look how successful and wealthy I am, and look how easy it is for me. And it was hard for me in the beginning. I didn't know how to get to where I wanted to be. And now, Badass Business Babe, if you guys don't know, Badass Business Babe, this is what we're going to say. I have so much to tell you today. This is going to be a longer training. When I set my intentions last year, I decided I wanted to make $444,000 in our business. And I set that intention at this very same event that I'm at last year. And when I was about to get on a plane and come here, my husband turned to me and goes, hey, that goal you set last year, we just crossed it. We had $444,000 in our business this year. And the year before that, I had $187,000 in our business. And the year before that, this is where it gets like eye-opening. The year before that, I hit 10. So I went from doing $10,000 in the whole entire year in my business to do $187,000 to this year going over $444,000. We're going to pass $500,000 by the end of the year. And next year we're going to do $1 million. We're going to do $2 million. And I'm not sharing that to brag with you guys. I'm not sharing to boast. I'm sharing because it is fucking possible. Everything that you have in your heart, this hunger, this fire, this deep desire to create huge epic breakthroughs in your life and your financial reality and your business, all of it is possible. And when we get into the story that says, I'm not good enough, or I can't do that, or it's hard, or I don't know what to do, we lose our concrete certainty and we lose our ability to actually create it. And so over the next 12 days, we're going to be looking at everything that stops you here. We're going to be talking about sales strategy and your subconscious mind. We're going to be talking about, Catherine Zankina's jumping on a Saturday to talk about how to shift into having the biggest year of your life. We're having Shannon come on and talk about unworthiness and forgiveness. Nicole Sylvester's jumping on. We have so many amazing coaches. If you haven't shifted into looking at the roster and looking at what's going to happen over the next 12 days, you can go click the link in the bio of, not this video, but you can click the header image of the Facebook group and you can see the breakdown of everything that is happening over the next 12 days. And these are some of my dearest friends, and I'm so excited to jump on and provide a shit ton of value for you. The other thing that's important to mention is the online space can have this really burdening impression that it's competitive. When I started my online business and I was stepping into the world of life coaching, if you don't know my backstory, I'll share with you a little bit. But when I was stepping into that space, I heard from so many people, oh, it's so competitive, or it's so hard to make money online, or everyone's trying to do that. And the reason when I mapped out these 12 days of business, the reason I wanted to bring you other experts was for two reasons. Number one, I think when we learn from multiple people and we hear things in multiple ways, sometimes we hear it from the right person at the right place at the right time. And so a lot of these coaches, you're going to hear us being repetitive in some of the things we're teaching, but we're going to say them in different ways. And they're going to allow you to shift into a level of subconscious connection to what you want, to recognize that success leaves clues. And all of these beautiful women who are jumping on over the next 12 days have created success in the strategy of their business and also in some of the mindset stuff they're going to be sharing with you over the next 12 days. So I want you to hear that. And the other reason that we decided to bring on 12 women is because I wanted to prove to all of you in the online space that there's abundance for everybody. There is plenty of wealth. There is plenty of financial opportunity. There are plenty of clients, and there are plenty of chances to step into creating abundance all together. We don't need to feel like we're competing with each other. We don't need to feel like we're going to take clients from one another. And I really wanted to show up for you guys and show you that energy from all of us. We all believe in the power of subconscious mind and in the power of standing as a unit and showing you guys that together we can show up as sisters and not compete. There's plenty of abundance to go around. And I think it's really beautiful, like we're all taking this stance that together we rise, right? When we come together, we can rise and we can create massive change. So I'm so excited to get started. I'm so honored to be here with you. I brought on the tears before, but we're going to just shift away from that. And I want to share, before we dive into today's topic, which is about how to shift into the multiple six-figure vision of you, that version and the vision, right? What is it? What does it look like? How do we attract it? How do we create it? And before we do all of that, I want to take a minute to share with you some of my story, because I know we have a lot of new people in here. We had over 2,000 people sign up for this training. 2,000 people signed up. And not all of you guys were already in this group. We have a lot of new people. So you may not know who I am. You may have joined for Shannon or for Jen Casey or for Stephanie Ballinger or somebody else who got you to take this step in joining into the Badass Business Babe Facebook tribe. So if you don't mind, I'm going to take a moment and I'm just going to share with you guys my journey and who I am. I love the likes. I love the love. There's 140 of you on here. Like, I keep getting emotional because it's just, I remember a time growing my business where it was so hard, where I struggled and felt like I couldn't create what I wanted. I was on the verge of quitting multiple times, and I just feel so blessed that there's 140 of you guys listening to this right now, ready to change your life, ready to create magic and grow an empire online. And you're all so fucking worthy of that, and you're so ready. Like, just because you're here, like, I just want to be so clear. You showed the fuck up. Like, you're here. You've decided you want something, and you're declaring it by being here. And there's so much power in that. So aside from who you connected with and who really brought you into this space, and aside from the leaders that you're really ready and excited to learn from, take a moment to feel really fucking proud of yourself. Like, you signed up for this. Nobody forced you. Nobody twisted your arm. Like, you decided that you wanted something really big and beautiful for your life, and you're here. That is incredible, and that's something that you did. So celebrate that. Take pride in yourself, okay? First step. So let me take a minute to share with you guys who I am. My name is Lauren Eliz Love. I am I don't even know what the fuck I am, right? I'm a business coach, strategist, mindset shifter, web designer. I do a bunch of fucking different things. But the most important and most powerful piece of who I am, aside from my personal life, is that I'm the founder of Badass Business Babe. And I created this community where I teach women how to grow businesses online, how to shift into personal brands. And my journey and the founding of Badass Business Babe, which is very young, Badass Business Babe, I know we're crossing 500,000 this year in revenue, but we're a baby, right? Like, we just started Badass Business Babe like a year ago. I stepped into the online space in 2015, and I was trying to be a life coach. I quit my corporate job, pulled my 401k, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to be a blogger, and I'm going to share my fucked up life, and I'm going to tell everybody about what I've been through, and I'm going to make money off of that. Like, that was literally my vision. And I had certain bloggers that I loved. Like, I followed, I don't know if you know her, The Undressed Skeleton, Terilyn McNitt. I was a big fan of Lauren Everts. I watched her grow. I liked the Beautiful Mess Girls, Elsie Larson, right? Like, I was watching these women who I really loved to follow, have blogs, and build personal brands, and then create multiple $1-million empires. And I was working a corporate job in television. At the time, I was a producer for CBS News, and I had gone through some terrible fucking shit in my life. Long trauma backstory. You can read all about it on badassbusinessbabe.com, but the short condensed version, I went from rock bottom to picking myself up and creating a life for myself. I was misdiagnosed with a mental illness. I lived in and out of psych wards in my early teens. I tried to kill myself after I was a rape victim. I had some really bad shit, right? And we all have it. I'm not trying to make myself feel significant here. But I had shit that a lot of people told me wasn't good. And I read memoirs like A Million Little Pieces and Augustin Burroughs, and like, I saw people sharing such vulnerability in their life, like talking about the most embarrassing stuff. Oh my God, you guys are giving me so much love. I fucking love it. I love it. And I saw people, right? I saw all these people making money off of just sharing their life. And I was like, I want to do that. I want to have a mission. I want to have a purpose on this planet where all I have to do is share about the life lessons that my divine creator gave me, these beautiful hardships that have transformed my life. I want to make a living sharing them. And at the time, I worked a corporate job. I was just getting my life in order. I had gotten divorced. I was married to a drug addict. That did not end well. And I was getting things back into a space, and I was finding out who I was. I was like embarking on this transformation, and I felt a deeper and deeper calling to really step into this idea I had. This you're going to be a blog and you're going to make money sharing your life. And at the time, I had just created safety. I had just gotten to that place where like I had a regular job, everything was running smoothly. I had a new boyfriend, he was amazing. He's now my husband. His name is Matt, and he's awesome. You're gonna hear from him later on this week. But yeah, so I felt like, okay, I'm gonna take this leap. I'm gonna try to grow this business. I don't even know what the fuck it looks like, right? Alicia says beautiful disasters. Yeah, I wanted to just be somebody who just could share her life and to give women permission to just be themselves, right? Like, and that's all I wanted to do. And I didn't know what the business model for that looked like. I didn't know how the fuck I was going to make money. My husband said something to me. He was my boyfriend at the time, and our lease was ending. I was getting unhappy in my corporate job, and I was just like, I really want to try this. And he said, Lauren, if not now, when? You don't have a car, because I was living in Manhattan, so there was no bill there. You don't own a home, because we were renting in Manhattan, so there was no, financial tie there. We don't have children, right? If not now, when? And I think it was such a powerful point, because the reality is there is never a better time than to step into what you want than now. Because no matter what, there's always a reason why it's a bad idea. If you have children now and you're thinking of taking a big leap, well, guess what? Your children are going to have more financial responsibility as they get older. So if not now, when? Or if you're in a position where you have a corporate job and you feel steady and you're afraid to take that risk, you'll always feel that way. So if not now, when? And I realized like, okay, I got to take this leap. So I quit my job, and I remember my industry, I was in the television industry where everybody said, it's hard to get a job there. And I was leaving it on the fucking table. I was like, bye Felicia, I'm doing this. And I felt this wave of, I did it. I did the thing that makes no fucking sense to other people. I did the thing that people are telling me is crazy to do. So side note, when you're stepping into the six-figure and multiple six-figure version of yourself, there are going to be people who are telling you it is a terrible idea. There are going to be people who are going to say, oh, that's kind of hard. Like, how do you do that? There are going to be people who tell you to go back and get a regular job. Your purpose is to hear all of that and say, thank you, I love you, I see you, but I'm going to choose again. And I put my blinders up, said, bye, Felicia, did the thing, quit my job. And my husband, who was my boyfriend at the time, we were dating for like a year, sold all of our stuff, put everything into storage, got rid of the apartment, got rid of the life in Manhattan, moved in with his parents, got a blow-up mattress, put it on the floor in his old kid bedroom, and I'm like, this is what we're doing. And for a year, I sat in front of my computer, Googling the strategies of how to make my blog successful, researching all of the ways that I could take better photos, trying to figure out how to grow Instagram and Pinterest and Facebook. I was doing all these things, and you guys know, you've been trying to grow a business too, right? There's nearly 170 of you guys now listening to this training. You know that you can Google and research shit for hours, for days, for months. There are tons of articles that show you this is how you get your website seen by SEO, and this is how you properly grow an Instagram. And the fucked up part of all of this, right? And the reason that I feel so inspired in what I do every day, the fucked up part is that 95% of what we're reading online was written 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 2 years ago. And there's like a million fucking ways to do it. And on top of that, the shit that worked 4 years ago doesn't work now. I mean, how many of you guys are in network marketing? There are network marketers here on the line, and you guys are taught by your uplines or by what you see on social media that you got to cold copy and paste messages 5 times a day and then privately message people about their cats and send them tips. And I mean, we're taught all these ways that we're supposed to do it. And when I was researching and trying to figure this out, the first year of my business where I hit $10,000 total in revenue, like I was even doing classes at the library trying to make money. I was trying all of the things, throwing spaghetti on the wall and just seeing what was sticking, right? And I spent hours doing this every day. And in that first year, I recognized that there's a lot of information out there that tells you what you should be doing. And not all of it feels like it makes sense. And not all of it feels good. And there are 40 million people trying to do the same fucking shit you're doing, which makes you feel even worse and makes you doubt whether or not you can actually be successful. So the comparisonitis energy just goes through the fucking roof. And you're like, oh my God, everyone's trying to do this. How the fuck am I going to stand out? I've been trying this for so long, it's not working. So anyway, long story short, I figured it out. I'm really happy I did. And within that year, I went from $10,000 in revenue to then doing $187,000 to now this year hitting $500,000. So how did this happen? Well, the first piece of the puzzle is I learned the right strategy, right? I learned how to properly grow an audience. I learned how to properly reach the masses. I learned how to design a course. I learned how to create passive income products. I learned how to be a coach, and I went to coaching school. I did all of these things. And the first year of my business was this trial and error, $10,000 year. It was a disaster. The second year, I was a life coach. And I built my brand. It was called What is Perfection? There's a whole fucking story around that, so we won't get into it. But my brand, What is Perfection, my website, whatisperfection.com, started to perform really, really well. And I used strategies through Facebook and Instagram and through Pinterest, and we were effectively able to grow a beautiful, beautiful business. And one day, in the What is Perfection brand, one day I took a moment and I sat back and I looked at my one-on-one clients. I had about 12 one-on-one clients at the time. And I was like, now this was a breakthrough moment. I was like, holy fucking shit. This person wants to grow a business. This person wants to grow a business. This person wants to grow a business. All of my clients are now in a place, and that wasn't always true. It was just this one particular point in my life. All of these clients want to grow businesses. What the fuck am I doing not helping them on a bigger scale? So I sent an email out to all of my followers. I had about 2,000 people on my email list at the time, and I had a group of 2,000, and I was like, hey guys, guess what? What is Perfection is closing its doors. Badass Business Babe is here. And I had to leave this old version of myself, right? I had to shelf my ego that was telling me, you know, you finally got something to work. What the fuck are you doing changing gears, right? You crazy. But again, bye Felicia. I'm ready to do this. The school I went to for coaching was called Transform Destiny. And in the last 2.5 years, because I know you guys are asking about that, I went to Transform Destiny and got certified in NLP, hypnotherapy, and coaching. And I always tell people, now I teach people how to be coaches, right? Like now I have a program, it's called the Coaching Mentorship. It's an intensive with me, and I take women on a journey 3 times a year into teaching them how to be a coach. And I walk them through all of those pieces. You don't need a certification to be a coach online. You don't. And that's the reality. And the truth is, if you put yourself in a position where you're ready to learn and grow and get all of the information, you can open the floodgates to possibility. But a certification, if we think, oh, I need to be certified and then I can do X, Y, and Z, such shit. You don't need anything. You need to be certain and concrete in your belief about wanting to create change for people. You need to be in your line of service, and you need to be open to educating yourself, however that looks. So anyway, going back to this piece, I closed my doors to What is Perfection. I opened up Badass Business Babe. And in like 4 months, this was last year or the year before that, I designed a bunch of different programs online. I designed 30 Days to Launch Your Biz, which taught you how to grow a business online. I designed Grow Like a Badass that taught you how to grow your audience. I designed a Badass Sales program that taught you how to sell. I poured myself into creating as much as possible. Now, I know you're probably thinking, Lauren, you're supposed to teach me how to shift into the 6-figure version of me. What the fuck does any of this have to do with what I need to do? Well, it has everything to do with it because success leaves clues, right? And so when I was growing and I was taking things to the next level, I learned a lot strategically. A lot of things I have now shared in my programs. So if you want to learn how to strategically shift into your next level, go enroll in those online courses. But today I'm going to teach you the way more important piece of this puzzle, and it's how to become the version of yourself that effortlessly attracts multiple 6 figures in your business. And this is the secret that I could not find anywhere. This is the secret that took me a year and a half to figure out. But once I figured it out, everything I wanted started to manifest. And I'm so excited to share this with you guys today. So, first things first, why are you not receiving multiple six figures? All of you guys have a goal. Here's your challenge. Drop your income goal, your yearly income goal for 2019. Put it in the comments. I want to see it. What is your income goal? And I think I need a glass of water over here, but I want to see it. Tell me for the next year, for 2019, what is the goal? What are you trying to shift into? What is that number going to be? So a lot of us, hey Melanie, Melanie's jumping on later this week, 250,000, 125,000, 145,000, 1,111. I like you, Diane. 177,000, 222. Yeah, my goal was 444,000 this year, and we crossed it. Next year, we're gonna aim for 2 million. So we all have these goals, right? Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. These are absolutely amazing. Now, part of the reason I'm asking you to put them in the comments is because a lot of you guys haven't decided what the number is. And I know there are a lot of different ways to teach this, but what I'm going to tell you right now is regardless of what your goal is, it could be a certain amount of people that you want to work with, or it can be a certain number of revenue. For me, revenue is very connected. I feel very centered in that. But regardless of what it is, if you haven't shifted into receiving it yet, you have what's called an upper limit. You have this resistance in your journey of expansion that is stopping you from achieving. It is stopping you from getting to the next level. So I'll give you an example. When I was starting to grow my business, the thought of hitting a $10,000 month felt so impossible to me. Now, the thought of not hitting a $10,000 month feels impossible because we're hitting 50 and 60 consistently every single month. So I've raised my standard in my brain. I've raised that to know that I will no longer tolerate anything less than a certain number. But in the beginning of our business, we have an upper limit where we can't visualize or conceptualize what a life like that would look like. So if you're thinking, I want to hit a, let's just use, because I'm seeing your comments in the thread, right? And you have some really beautiful goals, and I want to make sure as I'm doing this exercise with you that I'm relating to you. So I'm not going to use the big $1 million vision. Let's go back a little bit and let's talk about six figures. Six-figure mark. When I set my first goal, and I was like, oh, everyone's saying I should make six figures, so that's going to be my goal. I had never in my fucking life made six figures in a year. And at that point, I was walking around being like, all right, cool, I'm going to make six figures. I'm going to make six figures. But never in my life had I ever brought in a monthly income of $8,000. And that's what a six-figure income is, right? It's $8,000 to $9,000 per month. And I had this desire, but at the same time, when I declared that number and I said it and it spoke through me and it came through me, I immediately felt a subconscious belief. I could feel it, like this little niggle in the back of my head that was like, yeah, fucking right. Or like, psh, you don't even know what that is. Good luck with that, girl. Like I could hear this like egoic voice come up. And so no matter what, it is really important to remember that if you haven't stepped into receiving a goal, that voice is too loud. And your job is to silence that voice by creating certainty. Now, how do we do that? When we want to step into the six-figure version of ourselves, we need to ask ourselves, what has stopped me in the past from receiving that goal? In the past, I've never made six figures before. So why? Why haven't I made the six figures before? And when I did this exercise, if we use my journey as an example, I couldn't conceptualize what a six-figure income actually felt like. I couldn't imagine having $10,000 in revenue a month in the bank. I didn't know what I would do with that. So I had to scale back to find a number that felt really aligned with me, where I was like, yeah, I could do that. That feels really good. Some of you can scale back to shift back into receiving a number that feels really aligned, and others you will shift into. So it depends. But for the purposes of this exercise, we're going to declare something that feels a little bit scary, but also feels incredibly exciting because you need a mix of both of that energy. When you select an income goal, I get this question a lot. How do you select a goal? A goal should feel scary a little bit because it's shifting you into a new version of you. And it should also feel really fucking exciting. It should not feel, holy fucking shit, I can't do that. It should not feel that way. So a great exercise to do, if you want to pause this later on, if you're watching the replay, sit down and say, what is the number? What is the goal? What is the intention? You need certainty and you need specificity as you move towards goals, because a goal without specific intention is just a wish and it doesn't get you anywhere. So the first step is to create a really consistent, clear step, and then to ask yourself, okay, I know I want that number. Why haven't I received that number in the past? What is stopping me? And we often use these excuses. We say, well, I don't know the strategy, or I don't know what to talk about, or I don't know how to show up, or maybe if we're really honest with ourselves, the reality is we're not acting like that. We want 6 figures, but we don't act like a 6-figure earner, right? We dilly-dally on our Instagram every day. We scroll on Facebook. We don't act like we run a business. We act like we're running a hobby. And so a great deal of the transformation that comes when you shift into this multiple 6-figure version of you is being able to declare with specificity what you want, but then to act like you already have it. And here's the deal. When you're making that next level of income, whatever that goal is, whether it's 6 figures, multiple 6 figures, 250,000, $1 million, when you act like you're already there, you elevate your energy into this space where people are attracted to you. When you're not making money, you're not attracting people. So why aren't you attracting the people that you want? Next level, you always need to attract a different next level version of an old version of you. I know that's a mouthful, so let's explain what the fuck that means. At every single journey, every single level, no matter what type of entrepreneur you are attracting an old version of you. When I was in a low vibration, I would get people who would come into my business and they go, oh, it's so hard. I'm such a victim. I don't know what to do with my life. I'm so hopeless. I'm suicidal. I need help, right? I attracted these very low level people because in my evolution of raising my vibration to get into this like really high vibe level of consciousness, I was probably here, probably the first year. And so the only people that I could possibly help are these people right underneath me. And so I'd attract old versions of me who were doing this old story of like, I don't have the money for that. It's hard to invest that. I don't know. Now's not a good time. I was attracting people who weren't committed because I was not committed in my level of certainty, growing my business and trying to reach my income goals. Does that make sense? So at every single step, you are shedding old versions of yourself. You're attracting old versions of yourself, and you're doing healing to get to the next level. So your job, when you really want to shift into manifesting bigger income and reaching bigger income goals, your job is not just to evaluate your business and say, okay, why haven't I attracted that? Well, I'm not showing up. I'm not networking with people. I'm dilly-dallying. I'm scrolling social media and acting like I worked all the time. Yeah, you need to evaluate that, but you also need to evaluate yourself. Where am I not certain? Where am I resisting my growth? Where am I not letting go of my old stories? And so acting as if, a great question came through on this thread. How do you act as if? Well, you need to model, right? Modeling is so fucking important. You need to find somebody that's doing what you're doing or doing what you want to do and look at them and evaluate them and say, okay, how do they live their life? How do they show up? How are they creating that high vibration? And when you can see that and you can model and you start to reflect, you grow and you heal and you start to raise your vibration, and suddenly all of these people underneath you, as you raise your vibration and get to that next level, all of these people underneath you are now available to work with you because you're in your level of certainty, you're in your highest vibration of consciousness, and everybody else underneath you becomes a magnet for what you're doing because you have certainty. And let's talk about what that is. What is certainty? Certainty is deciding that you are going to get something. It is deciding that you're going to achieve something, and it's not a matter of if you get it, it's a matter of when. So a person who acts, if I get that goal, right? How do they act? They're not certain. They don't show up consistently on social media. They go in and out of picking their brand identity and deciding what type of Facebook group they should create or who they should talk to. A person who's not certain doesn't show up in a leadership energy on social media. I mean, I see this all the time, you guys. Your Instagrams, your Facebook, right? When you're certain, you have like an I don't give a fuck energy in everything that you post. You lead with confidence. And so your job when you're trying to get to the next level, recapping, I know I'm repeating myself, fix your business, but also fix yourself. Not to say that you're broken. There's nothing wrong with you guys. None of you guys are broken. You're just not in that space of confidence and certainty, and you're not acting that way. And everything that you post on social media will reflect the energy of how you feel. So a lot of people, when they purchase, I'll just give you an example. When people decide to buy your products or your services, they are buying into your energy. When somebody doesn't buy your products or services, it's because they can feel that something's off. So there's a part of your brain called the limbic part of your brain, and this part of your brain does not communicate with words. It's nonverbal, communicates with emotion, communicates by picking up on certain feelings. And guess what part of your brain makes purchases? That part of your brain. So if you get on a discovery call with somebody and you're in that low space where you're not growing your business and you're like, I love this, Claudia says, Lauren is taking us to church. Yeah, girl, like, fuck yeah. Business, I need you to write this down. This is so important. Business is a spiritual game. At every step of the way, business is a spiritual game. You want to go deeper into making more money? You need to look at your shit. You need to heal yourself, and you need to step into that higher vibration. So along the way, as you start to grow and as you start to shift, you will recognize old stories come up. You will attract people who say, I can't afford it. Okay, how am I showing up with money? If I'm attracting people who say they can't afford it, in what ways am I showing up that way in my life? Or if I'm talking to people who say, I gotta talk to my husband, or I don't think I can invest right now, or I don't have the money for that, how am I showing up that way in my life? And so the people you attract are a mirror of the old stuff that you have not looked at, the old shit that you haven't healed, the old stories that you're avoiding. Diane says, oh my God, you're blowing my head off. Good. I love you. I love your head. I love your face. I'm happy. But this is the reality. And so people will run their businesses in this old way of hobby energy, and they're not stepping into their level of certainty, and then they wonder why their business isn't growing. So what does the six-figure version of me do? How does she operate? How does she live? How does she show up on the day-to-day? This was a huge breakthrough for me, and it's a part, if you haven't checked out the Unleash Your Badass Business workbook on Amazon, I encourage you to. It's my workbook. There's an exercise in there. It's very affordable. And one of the exercises that shifted me was asking this really simple question: how would the $1 million version of me behave? Right? How would she behave in her business? How would she behave in her relationship with others? How would she behave in her relationship with herself? How would she shop? How would she get dressed in the morning? How would she talk to people? How would she show up to learn? How would she show up to connect with her husband? Like, really, the $1 million version of you, the next level, what would she be doing differently? And you can't expect to shift into a level of your business that is the next step if you're not stepping into that in your level of life. So when I sat down and I asked myself that way back when I hit my $10,000 year, right before I broke through to six figures, I realized there was a lot I was doing wrong. I wasn't showing up on Facebook Live because I was scared of being judged. I wasn't creating that podcast that I really wanted to create because I was scared it wasn't going to work. I wasn't sharing in that layer of vulnerability that I really wanted to because I was scared of being judged or scared of not being enough. And I was settling because here's the reality. This is what I realized. I was so afraid of failing that I didn't give it my all because it would be way more painful if I gave it my all and I failed. Because what if I treated my business like a hobby, right? And I kind of half-assed it and I sort of tried. If I failed, I could blame my failure on my lack of consistency. I could blame it on the fact that I didn't fully show up. I could blame it on, not doing all the things that I said I would do or stepping in. But if I did everything, how painful would it be if I poured myself into reaching that goal? If I gave it my all and I didn't achieve it? It would be devastating. And so I self-sabotaged and I played small and I pushed myself down because I was settling for the type of failure that wouldn't hurt as much. Because if I gave it everything and I failed, I'd have to look at myself. And that was a terrible fear of mine. We're all as human beings deeply afraid that we're not going to be enough. And so we put ourselves in positions where we don't have to face that or we don't have to experience that. And so I self-sabotage. But what would the $1 million version of me do? If I was already making $1 million, would I give a shit? No. If I was already making $1 million and I had raving fans who loved me, who were obsessed with my content, who relied on my words, who trusted me, who bought all of my programs, who read all my articles in my blog, who joined my Facebook group, if I had all of that, how would I show up? And I would show up with gratitude, and I'd show up with certainty, and I'd show up with such a concrete connection to what I was doing in the world, because I would be enough. Does that make sense? I love this. You guys are sharing your heart. Some of you are crying. This means so much to me just that you're here with me on this journey, because everything standing in your way of success is about what you believe about your worth, what you believe about your abilities, what you believe you're capable of. And so that's what needs to change. If you don't believe you're good enough to get your goal, or if you believe that people won't like you enough to buy your program, or people won't you're not educated enough to be their coach, or you're not a leader enough for someone to want to follow your Instagram, if you feel that in any way, that's stopping you from getting to the next level. Now, here's the fucked up reality. These emotions of not being worthy, of not feeling good enough, of feeling like you're holding back, they will always be there because it's our innate nature to look for the problem to keep us safe. When we were little primal creatures in the woods, hunting and gathering and doing all of that shit, right? We had a primal brain that was looking for the bad thing, right? We would look for the lion that was going to attack us, the saber-toothed tiger that was going to eat our family. We were constantly in this space of looking for the fear. And so now, as we operate as human beings and spiritual beings on this planet called Earth, and we're now in a different space, our saber-toothed tiger is the girl who makes fun of us on social media, or the woman who calls us fat on our Instagram, or the person that's going to tell us we're not a good coach, or the person that's going to leave us a bad review if we don't do our job, or the person that's going to laugh at our Facebook, or our mom who's going to reject our content, or the old friend from high school that's going to laugh at us. So we're avoiding stepping into our truth because we're looking for that saber-toothed tiger that's now called judgment and criticism and not being enough. Isn't that crazy? So it's important to remember that this is part of our instinct. This isn't going to go away, right? This ability to protect ourselves is something that we were born with. It's a gift, but we let it run the show and we let it operate and judge and guide us at every step of the way in our businesses, and that's what keeps us stuck. So this question of what would the $1 million version of you do, it's not really about the money, it's about the idea that you've achieved the goal. How would you act? Well, I would get dressed every day. Because if I had $1 million, I'd feel like a fucking badass. And I would dress up every day, and I'd do my hair, and I'd get my eyelashes done. And I remember I shared this with all of my students. When I did this exercise, the first thing that came to my mind, six-figure version of me, she doesn't have holes in her underwear. And it was such a mind fuck for me because I was so poor in my business that I was having all this old underwear in my drawer and I didn't buy anything new and I would always run out, and I was like, you know what, six-figure version of me, she has some nice fucking underwear, okay? I'm gonna go next level. I can go do that right now. And so I did these little things that on paper, they weren't really a big deal, but they were shifting me into the next level version of me. So I went to Victoria's Secret and I got some new underwear. Yes, really happy about that. My husband was really glad. So I did that. The six-figure version of me, she is relaxed, right? So how does she feel? She's relaxed, she's peaceful, she's centered, she's present, she's funny, she's whimsical. And so I'd ask myself, okay, now that I know that that's the six-figure version of me does those things, what can I do now that would step into that energy? And so if the six-figure version of me is peaceful and she maybe experiences spa things regularly, right? Like I love getting my eyelashes done or getting my nails done or getting a massage. To step into that six-figure version of me before it actually happens, I would make scheduled appointments with myself in the house to have at-home spa days. And I would take a bubble bath and I would put moisturizer all over my body and I would read a magazine and wear a face mask. And I would experience those moments because they were a taste of the lifestyle that I was trying to stretch into. Another thing that was really powerful for me, the six-figure version of me, she didn't worry about money. So I used to take time with my husband to dream about the things that we wanted for our lives. We would make vision boards together, or we would write lists of what we wanted to attract when we had $1 million, or we would go shopping for a car just to feel into the energy, right? We went to the store and we looked at a truck that he really wanted because we were shifting into that vibration and getting a taste of it, right? So that was a really powerful tool. And those little things that I could do started to shape and shift my identity. Because when you're not reaching your goals, it's because you don't feel like you're that person. And there's that upper limit. But if you can say, okay, that version of me, she is fucking in bliss all the time. So I got to create that in my life right now. And I'm even doing this now where next year we're declaring, we hit 500,000 this year and we said next year we're going to hit 2. So with that goal and intention in mind, I'm like, okay, what does the $2 million version of me do? Well, she doesn't fucking check her emails all the time. She doesn't check her Instagram or her Facebook like crazy. She has a team that helps her run stuff. And that's how I'm operating. I'm operating in that space of surrendering and giving up control and letting my team run the show so that I can have the time freedom, so I can be in that space of acting as if. Does this make sense? Cool. So the other thing we need to pay attention to, outside of doing these little small things to shift us, and I'm going to encourage you guys, because this is such an intensive training, to go back and listen. We're already 50 minutes in. I'm going to wrap up at the top of the hour, I promise. But one of the things that was really effective for me was to recognize what are the energies that the higher level version of me needs to have to continue to grow and expand. And there were a couple of things that came to mind that will always be there, and I encourage you to jot these down because they're going to be really eye-opening for you. At any level, next income space, next step, the energy that you need to hold is confidence. So this is about believing in your worth, believing in your value, believing in what you have to offer. And if you don't feel that way right now, you need to ask yourself why. And we all hold back, right? I may not feel 150% confident in getting to $2 million. And I could look at that and go, okay, well, I don't feel confident because maybe I feel like we're not doing enough to grow our audience. Okay, what can I do to grow my audience? Or maybe I don't feel confident because I feel like I'm not educated. If maybe this is you, I feel like I'm not educated in what I'm teaching. Okay, how can I be more educated in what I'm teaching? Or maybe I feel like I haven't reached that next level of my business because I am scared of putting myself out there. Okay, how can I put myself out there more? You see, there's answers behind here. So why am I not feeling confident? What's holding me back from feeling confident? And then what can I do to heal that and hold myself accountable by stepping into action? So decisions, when we talk about what a decision is, a concrete certainty decision is something that you decide in an instant. But then you have to take action to support it. And a decision is bullshit unless you actually take an action to follow through. So why am I not confident at that level that I need to be to get to the next level? And then what can I do to heal that confidence? So a lot of women show up here and say, well, I don't feel worthy because I feel like I'm not credible enough, or I feel I'm afraid of putting myself out there at that level, or I don't know how to grow my audience to that next level, or I feel like I need, a product out there that I don't have. The clues are there. So the first thing that you need is the confidence. The second thing you need is aligned service and connection. And this is a mindfuck for a lot of us because we're showing up trying to get something from our audience, right? We're showing up trying to get. We say, I want to make $1 million, so I need to get income from people. I want to sell out my program, so I need to find X amount of people to pay for that. But what are you giving? How are you showing up every day acting as if? $1 million earner doesn't look to get, they look to give. So how are you not giving? And when you show up every day to give, you never have to worry about money a day in your life. So, confidence is important. What am I doing to shift into a more confident version of myself? Obviously. But aligned service, right? Service and connection. What am I doing every day to connect with people? What am I doing every day to show love, to give, to pour into people? You know, if we look at 12 Days of Bizmas, this was a very clear creation based on asking that question. What can I do to give more? What can I do to show up? And we often have resistance around this because we feel like we've been taken advantage of. So we feel like I show up every day on social media and nobody buys my stuff and I feel so taken advantage of. And this one girl is private messaging me all the time and she never buys my stuff. Okay, cool. But you're focused on the wrong stuff. Because if you decide that showing up every day to give and to serve and to love is your number one focus, you will never have to worry about money a day in your life. I used to get on discovery calls with people and I would be so discouraged when they didn't say yes, or when they said no, or when they told me they had to think about it, or when they made the money excuse, and I would feel like I was failing. But I would now, just so you know, I don't do discovery calls anymore because I only work with a handful of women privately. Majority of our income now is passive. It's in our group programs, it's in our online courses. It's been beautiful, right? So I have a lot of free time. And to get there, I had to learn that when I jumped on a discovery call, if somebody said no, it didn't matter because the universe was going to send me the right person because I was showing up every day and giving. So in your layer of connection and giving and providing for people, you need to look at how am I not fully stepping into my space of service? In what ways am I resisting showing up because I feel like I'm being taken advantage of? In what ways am I not fully stepping into my identity as a leader because I feel like maybe people aren't trusting me or people aren't relying on me or people think that they can just take advantage of my stuff? Where is the disconnect here in connecting into my service? When I use this analogy, it always makes people laugh. But like if you look like Mother Teresa, right? Mother Teresa she had a vocation, right? She was dedicated, she had a mission. She was in this like real clear, passionate purpose in her life. And when she went around trying to feed the homeless, if somebody said no to her, she wasn't like, that bitch, right? She wouldn't get mad. She'd be like, oh, great, you have what you need. Let me find someone who needs what I have to offer. And she was on this mission of service, and that's why she was so successful doing what she loved and raising so much money to help people in the world because she was aligned with what she was giving. And she never felt like when someone said no to her that it was a sign she should give up. She was never like, oh, no one wants to get my sandwiches. Maybe this isn't something the world needs. No, she knew what she was doing. She was aligned with her purpose. She was so fucking certain, and that's how she showed up. That's what she created in her life. So where are you falling short in your layer of showing up to serve? Confidence, service, leadership. How am I not acting as a leader? This is so fucking powerful, and I see it so often where people are afraid. Amy says Mother Teresa with the snapback. Yeah, Mother Teresa. We all need to own our inner Mother Teresa. It's all a part of us, right? Like we all have that piece of us that we can say, if money wasn't an issue, how would I show up to serve? If money wasn't an issue, how would I show up to give, right? It's so important. So at every level of leadership, there's this element of, I don't give a fuck what other people think of me. And yes, this is about confidence, but this is also too about looking at how am I guiding people in that space of, look at me, come follow. Right? And there's an energy to that. You could be very confident and not be a leader. You could be a leader and be not very, confident. So you need those two things together. And being a leader is really about moving people towards their goals. And leaders make tough decisions in their life. So as any level of leadership, you're doing some hard things. You're deciding to run programs when you don't know if they're going to sell out. You're maybe kicking somebody out of a program or firing a client or letting go of an employee. Leaders make hard fucking decisions. So at every step of the way, you're learning new leadership questions. You're answering those questions by shifting into acting like a leader and doing things that maybe you wouldn't have done the level before. So at every level of leadership, there's a new challenge, and it's always about learning how to not care what other people think, to follow your intuition. So my questions of like, what was I not doing to be a leader in the beginning were really simple. It was like, well, I'm not showing up on Facebook. I'm not promoting my stuff because I'm afraid I'm going to be annoying. I'm not showing up to serve my Facebook group because I'm scared that if I email people too much or show up too much, like what's going to happen, right? Like I was afraid that I wasn't leading effectively. And so I had to do a lot of work on that and be like, okay, well, what if I had millions? How would I lead? I would tell everybody about my fucking business. I would talk about it all the time. I would promote the fuck out of my stuff because I know it's life-changing and I know people love it and I know it's gotten huge results. My programs have transformed so many lives and businesses, right? So I got to anchor into that certainty and be like, fuck, I'm a leader. I know what I have is amazing. I know this is going to change someone's life and I need to get into that space. So what do I have to do to be more of a leader? How can I be more confident? How can I be more connected to my line of service? And what do I do to be a leader? And then this fourth element that's really important in shifting you to that next level version of you is the space of creation that you're operating in. How are you creating? And when I look at like what has gotten me to that next level of growing my identity as a coach, growing my social media following, growing the email list, growing our income, all of that growth, no matter what category it falls under, is directly connected to the quality of the creation that I am doing. So this is things like Facebook Live, or my Instagram, or the blog posts, or the PDF guides, or the programs I create, right? Like, what am I doing in my creation space? And where am I not fully stepping into that creation? And when you can look at that, you can start to see holes. You say, well, I'm not showing up every day on Facebook Live because I don't really know what to talk about. Or, yeah, I'm not really posting full body pictures of me on Instagram because I don't like my body, or I feel like I'm fat, or I'm scared what other people are going to think. Or I'm not talking about what I've been through in my life because I'm nervous, right? So looking at your content and you saying, how can I innovate this and this journey of creation? How can I sink more deeply into my gifts of creation? When I look at who I am and I tell people, yes, I am the founder of Badass Business Babe, right? I design blog posts and courses and Facebook Lives and Instagram, right? I do all of that, but at the core level, I'm an artist. I'm a creator. And when I can step into that feminine energy, which creates with detachment, okay? Feminine energy shows up and says, I have this idea for a program. I'm going to create it. Or I have an idea for this Instagram post. I'm going to just create it. When you can use that muscle and use that muscle effectively, you start to grow your following in such an expansive way because you're creating with the divine and you're not creating with ego. Creating with ego says, what should I create today? What am I supposed to create? What am I supposed to talk about? Creating with your divine feminine is like, what do I feel called to discuss today? How can I show up to create something fun? And you're creating with that detachment. You're not asking, is this going to sell? Is this going to be something people want? You're incredibly detached. And that detachment is what creates success. So I want you guys to remember that. I know we've covered a lot today. There's been so much in this hour, but I want to wrap it up and keep it a full hour for you guys. But just to recap here, look at where you are showing up in your confidence. Look at where you're showing up, how you create, how you're showing up as a leader, how you're showing up to connect. And when you can look at those 4 places and say, where am I falling short? Those questions are the secrets to shifting you into that next space, to getting you where you want to be, not just in your business, but in your life, right? Your business is supposed to create more prosperity for you outside of just the financial ramifications, right? Like it's supposed to bring you joy and bring you happiness. It's supposed to transform you. So start transforming yourself now and the world will start to shift. The magnets will start to turn on and everything will start to manifest and come into your life. Does that make sense? Okay, we did not have time for questions today, but that's okay because we have 11 more amazing days of this beautiful value for you guys. One final thing, Six Figure Biz Babe. I know I get a lot of questions about this, but Six Figure Biz Babe is a 6-week coaching program that I run. If you want more details on it, I've included the link in the bio for you to check it out. We have our wait list. Our details of our next round are also posted on the website for 2019. So if you want to jump in, last round we had 100 amazing women transform their businesses. It was beautiful. And this round's going to be even better because we're always improving the quality of what we create, right? Hope you guys learned that today. I love you so much. This was so beautiful. Congratulations on completing day 1. Giveaway winners will be announced in the Facebook group today, and the new announcement for giveaway and what we're giving away next, I'm so excited to announce this, will be tomorrow on that website. So you can go to badassbusinessbabe.com/giveaway to get all of the information on how to participate in our 12-day giveaway challenge. I love you guys. This was so awesome. Thank you so much for being here, and we will see you later on in the week tomorrow with our next beautiful guest on the show. I'll talk to you guys soon.